Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel and to Monster. We are gonna watch probably episode 44 and 45 this reaction video. I do hope you are excited about it. I am excited, most definitely. I do want to check out if our detective Suk is actually gonna figure everything out, if he's like how he's gonna getting involved in all of this, because we do have our corruption cases going on at the police station. We do have Grimmer. Actually, I don't know if he's still in the mix or if he's getting out of there, and that's that, but he definitely does have the info on Kinderheim and all of the stuff that happened there and about Johann. And we do not know if, well, I had the crazy, like, batshit insane theory last time that this Nina that we're seeing is not actually Nina. I don't know if it's actually gonna be turning out to be true, or if Nina actually just is disguising herself and deceiving these people to actually just pretend she's a certain person, right? A persona that she's actually not. Or if this is a question on that she had some memory unlock for her, and that kind of changed her in a way, and that she has some form of amnesia revolving around that. But I'm not sure about how plausible I would take that for, because we saw her leaving with Dieter and we were like, okay, she recognizes Dieter, she actually talks like Nina, she has the thought patterns and the way she acts. This is literally Nina. So, but this person now in the new episode, first of all, I checked back some other scenes and she is not drawn that differently, but something about her feels and looks different to me personally. Maybe I'm just disassociating with all of this and I'm going crazy and all, but it seems that way to me. So it stands to reason that maybe some of you have also felt that when you watch that, and maybe there's something to it and maybe there's not. Maybe she's just a good actor, or maybe she's just like unlocked some memories that changed her on like a fundamental level. But either way, we do have this Nina looking person in there. She's flirting with our a young green detective who was just trying to do the right thing, right? They just came out of like college or university or whatever, or they're out of school with his buddies, where he's sitting at the table with them and he's like, damn, I wish I could do something and whatever. And like the buddies are working in different fields, not police officers, and they're trying to cheer him up and everything, right? And then he sees Nina and he starts talking to her, and a couple of days later we do have that convo going again and whatnot. And we do have like the scene with like the sour drops or whatever it is, with the candy that they're eating and they're all dropping dead, which heavily parallels episode, I think 2 or 3 of Monster, like one of the first episodes with Johann and all that. So crazy shit going on right now, and I can't wait to see how it continues. Without any further ado, we're gonna go into this. This is Monster, so I do not assume I will have a separate version of this. Do let me know if you want to actually have a separate version of this for the patrons for after I release these episodes to YouTube. I could do that too, right? Like just do 2 of them with like I have to double render them, but if you really want to, I can do that so they remain ad-free even after I dropped it publicly on YouTube. In that case, you all can just go to the Patreon and watch it over there completely ad-free, including the discussion, and then have obviously the usual full-length links as well, which are also ad-free, so you have the full experience ad-free. Up until now, it was the case that we did have our YouTube video, which had the reaction and the discussion, which had ads once I released it to YouTube, and then you could kind of go to Patreon and see the reaction portion of it at full length, completely free of ads. So do let me know what you think about that, if you would appreciate that, if you would think that this is worth it in the sense of just something I could do for you. Obviously, it's more work for me. It's like more time my computer spends rendering stuff, which is heavy on the resources. And it also, obviously, I have to double upload for that. but I would be willing to do that if enough of you are like, yes, I would really appreciate that, I would like that. If enough of you are like, I don't really care, it's fine, right? Like, I don't care either way, then I'm gonna leave it the way it is. Obviously, we can still, at some point in time down the line, way down the line, we can disable the ads once the videos are not even remotely like up to date anymore, in the sense of like it's been way back since I reacted to these things, and there's not a lot of views coming in anyway. So but obviously for a YouTuber, a lot of the older videos that you have, especially those who have more views, but in general, like just the mass of the videos that you have in general, is a lot, like is a big source of your revenue, in the sense that the longer your YouTube channel goes on, the more videos are on there, and even if like an individual video is just making a couple of cents per month, that is gonna add up the more videos you have, and the more series you have, and the more it's like just trickling in that sense. So I think that is also a big part of why a YouTuber that started out with like their earliest videos, and even after they became million subscriber YouTubers, they still like the old videos still have like a couple of thousand views only, but the thing is, like, those are hundreds of videos, so like it stacks incredibly well for somebody who is like all the way in the future, making videos that millions of people see. But all of these older videos, even if the new video is ad-free because they have copyright issues, or because like they want to provide their viewers at this point with mostly ad-free content, there's still like all of this backlog of videos that are actually helping to kind of just keep that level up for the YouTuber, in order to be able to make a living from that, even beyond changes on whatever the current video pipeline is doing. But yeah, it was a little bit technical. Most of you probably don't care about that specifically, although most of you who are watching Monster are more of the hardcore viewership, who are actually also interested in the channel in general. So I do appreciate that, and maybe some of you were interested in that little perspective on, like, my personal perspective on that, as somebody who's been doing YouTube for only a year, but pretty consistently, and pretty trying to stay in the game and whatnot. But yeah, do let me know what you think about the videos, and if we should do like that split of like Patreon also gets ad-free separate version of the video forever, right? Like even after I made the video public, or if you're like, I mean, that's cool, but I don't really need that. And do feel free to engage on comment section as well. Obviously, if we have like separate videos, that would mean that everybody who's a patron who's actually commenting here would be commenting on a different video. That doesn't mean, however, that if I go into the comments and I highlight comments, I would probably take both chats as a feed to actually go for that, to talk about these. But also, at the moment, right, if you're writing down there as a patron into the comment section, obviously once that video is out and public, people can see that, people can engage with that, answer to your comments and whatnot. So feel free to drop a comment or two. I would really appreciate it if you have something interesting to say. Right? Like, I mean, I'm not going to be looking at a comment and be like, well, boring. I'm generally reading every comment whenever I can. And it really, honestly, it's really a lot of fun reading comments, right? Just scrolling through the YouTube app and being like, oh yeah, somebody dropped a comment on one of my videos, and just see what they have to say. Be that interesting details about the series, be that their personal, like their own personal experiences, be that just somebody saying, hey, that was one of my favorite episodes because of this, or just thanking me for making the reaction. I do appreciate those as well, and they always kind of make my day. But yeah, let's get into that. Monster episode 44, The Two Darknesses? Okay. let's get it started. 3, 2, 1. Wait, as always, on YouTube, we're gonna skip the intro, the OP. I've talked about that a million times, but I want to repeat it oftentimes in case there's somebody new on here who hasn't seen all of my videos yet. We're gonna skip the OP, and after the OP, the first frame of the episode is gonna be like where the timer starts. But either way, I'm gonna start the video now in 3, 2, 1.
うまくもみ消せればいいんですがね。
And we have a little bit of a repeat of like last episode. Oh, it was like a whiskey bomb. From an extraordinary beauty. She sounds different too, right? Doesn't she?
何も信じられなくなった。
私でよければ相談に乗るけど。
信じてたんだ。ゼマン警部に限ってそんなことはないって。
何があったの？
信じていたのに。
Is he gonna talk about it? Because technically he shouldn't be able to, right?
今、僕の心の安らぎは。
Is you. Contrasted with that image, right?
君だけだよ。
And now the press is reporting on it. I do love that like TV effect that they're having with it. No statements has been made. Alright, so the rumors are sickering through.
犯行に使用された薬物は筋肉弛緩剤と言われていますが、殺されたハムリク所長まで秘密警察とつながっていたって本当なんですか？
The press doing their jobs here.
1週間前にゼマン警部が殺害された事件との関連は？
その件に関しては現在捜査中でして。
That's right, dude. Stay professional.
関連付けて見ているんですね。いや、ですからそういったことも含めてこれから捜査を。
申し訳ない。彼は別の事件の担当ですので。余計なことを喋るな。お前は早く行け。
Yeah. They're gonna twist your words, my dude.
正式な会見はいつ開かれるんですか？情報が揃い次第会見を開きますので、それまでお待ちください。
それじゃ対応が遅すぎるぞ。
I mean, that's not wrong, right? The press wants to have something like in a matter of like hours, despite an investigation taking longer than that, right? The proper investigation. Double darkness. Okay, that sounds better.
申し訳ありません。事件を一から洗い直せと上からの指示で。他の養護院に引き取られた子供たちの聴取は終わってますんで。
子供たちの身にもなってください。あの子たちは親代わりに育ててくれたペドロフさんとお手伝いの女性が死んでゆくところを目の前で見てしまったんですよ。今も夜うなされている子供がいるんです。
I do
一日も早く忘れさせてあげたい。
believe that. Also, that fish that.
一生忘れられるもんじゃないわね。心から慕ってた人が殺されたんですもの。一人15分間。あまり生々しい質問はしないでいいですね。
あそこの暮らしは楽しかったよ。ペドロフさんもアナさんもすごくいい人だった。
そうか。じゃあ事件の日のことについて聞きたいんだけど。あの日訪ねてきたグリマーさんは前にも来たことある？
初めて。
どういう
We're talking about grammar.
知らない。
ペドロフさんとグリマーさんは仲良くしてたかな？
そんなに仲良さそうじゃなかったけど。
けど？
なんか難しい話してた。
君たちドイツ語少しわかるよね。どんな話してた？
ここは無許可だとか、警察に通報するとか。
グリマーさんがそう言ったの？
うん。あと教育なんとかとか実験とか。
実験？あとは？
あとは
思い出したくないことはいいのよ、本座。
あと511キンダーハイム。
Ooh, we have a hint.
キンダーハイム？君それどこのことだか知ってる？
知らない。
先生は？
チェコにはそんな施設はないわ。
He is investigating. I mean, at least he takes it seriously.
どんな人だった？
He's asking good questions.
すっごくいい人だったよ。
君もか、イジ。
一緒にサッカーやったんだ。あんまり上手くなかったけどさ。でもグリマーさんも楽しそうだったよ。
And kids can often tell something like that, right?
尻餅ついてんの。多分本座の次に下手なんじゃないかな。それで
君はあの施設ではリーダー的な存在だったそうだね、アントニー。
別にリーダーってわけじゃないよ。みんなよりちょっと年上だったからね。
Taking responsibility
グリマー
because
さん
he's the oldest.
本座とイジーがグリマーさんのこと聞かれたって言ってたからさ。
Of course, kids talk.
ああ、それで？
いい人だよ。
Mm.
もしかしてグリマーさんのこと疑ってるの？
いや、そういうわけじゃ。
グリマーさんは犯人じゃないよ。僕らと一緒にサッカーやってて、帰ってきたらペドロフさんとアナさんが殺されてたんだ。前にも警察で話したけどさ、僕ら見たんだ。金髪の綺麗な女の人が僕らの家から出ていくの。
Did he hear about the blonde lady before?
誰を？
グリマーさん。
いや、まだそう決まったわけじゃないけど。
今度あの人と会うんだ。約束してたんだ。会う場所も決まってる。
Ooh, this could be trouble though.
いいのか？あの人を捕まえるかもしれないんだよ。
だってあの人絶対に人殺しなんかしない。
I mean, they don't have enough evidence on him, right? The question... It depends, right? It depends on the times.
よっ久しぶりだな。元気にしてたか？
全然元気だよ。
メソメソ泣いてたんじゃないのか？
こいつは二度おねしょした。
おねしょなら俺は君らよりずっと大きくなるまでしてたよ。
He can talk to children,
アン
right?
トニー、君に預けたものあるかい？ありがとう。よくちゃんと持ってたな。これはおじいちゃんから預かった大切なものだ。さてと、あまり時間がないんだ。みんな元気で。
Is he gonna escape again?
ああ、ごめんな。本当に時間がなくて。
紹介するよ。新しい仲間だ。
よし、ちょっとだけやるか。
やった
行け、チャンスだ。パス回せ。取られた。そんな甘いドリブル。せや。
ディフェンダーしっかりしてよ。
はあ、参った。
Did he lose the piece on purpose? Right, like he fell on purpose because he knows he's being observed? I don't think he didn't see that.
逮捕しに来たのか？子供の前だ。 銃なんか振り回すなよ。
そっちこそ持っている銃をこっちに投げろ。
銃なんか持ってないさ。
捨てたのか。
銃なんか持って歩いたこと一度もない。
Not as straightforward, huh?
ゼマン警部をやったのはあんたか。
わからない。何しろ拷問されて半分死んでたからな。
その爪。
銃で撃ったのは私じゃない。他の二人は私がやったのかもしれないが覚えてないんだ。
何休んでんだよ。こっちのチームメンバー足りなくなっちゃうよ。
勘弁してくれ。
Mm.
もうヘトヘトだ。
あなたをサッカーに誘うように子供たちに言ったのは僕です。
They would have done so anyway.
ずっと様子を見てた。
で、どうだった？俺は犯人か？
わからない。この数日間いろんな人に裏切られた。
Yeah.
僕にはもうわからない。何を信じればいいのか。
信じられるのは自分だけだ。最後に信じられるのはあんた自身だ。
Mm. That's dangerous too, though.
逮捕し
But
ないのか。
you know.
逃げないと約束してくれますか。今どこに泊まってるんですか。
ファブラホテル302号室。
Is he?
俺が犯人だと確信したらいつでも来てくれ。
Wait, did he give him
あ
the
んたにそれを
evidence?
預けるよ。今回の一連の事件の原因だと思う。足金庫の鍵だ。
Ooh. I mean, it's the key. All right. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the actual evidence on him. It's just the key, so
この
still dangerous.
ああ、こりゃ古いもんだよ。200年前の居酒屋の看板らしいけどね。店がなくなってもずっとかかってるんだ。すっかり色あせちまったが、今やこの通りの目印だ。
So it was there before.
いろんな災害があったんだろうに、よくこうして残ったもんさ。
I think that's really cool.
火事の時も。
火事。
ああ。
Ooh, it's you,
この2
Tenma.
階に子連れの女が引っ越してきてね。綺麗な女だったが、なんだか陰気でさ、ほとんど外に出なかったし、どうやら偽名を使ってたようだ。そこにある日突然黒い車がやってきて、母子ともども連れ去った。
Black car.
あの女、反政府運動にでも関係してたんじゃないか。
Shady dealings everywhere.
あの頃はよくある話でね、共産主義末期の恐怖政治だ。ひどい時代だったからね、人が突然消えちまうなんて珍しいことじゃなかった。
Yeah.
その女の人の連れていた子供って双子じゃなかったですか。
いや、子供は一人だったよ。
One
綺麗
child.
な顔
Okay.
した子でね。
男の子ですか女の子ですか。
あれ
Asking the right
そういえば
questions.
どっちだったかな。小さい子ってのはどっちか区別つかないこともあるからな。
Ooh, okay.
まったく母親はともかく罪のない子供まで連行するとはってみんな言ってたんだ。そんなところに火事が起きた。誰もいないあの部屋から火が出たと思ったら、なんとその子部屋にいるんだよ。きっとあの子だけ釈放されたんだろうが、一人でひもじくなって何か食おうと火を使ったんだろうな。
その子は。
確か火事場から助け出された後行方知れずだ。あれからどうしたか。
その子が双子の片割れだとしたら。双子の一人は連れ去られ、もう一人は部屋に残ったとしたら。
なるほど、そういう考え方もある。
Okay, yeah. Okay, thanks, Tenma. That really
だ
helped.
けどなんであんたそんなに双子にこだわるんだい。
The three frogs.
君が調べてみた方がいいって言ってくれた例のノッポのグリマーって男。
She's giving him
犯
info.
人じゃないと思う。
そう。ごめんなさい、スークさん。素人がいい加減なこと言って。
悪い人じゃないんだ。 その彼を追っていくうちにいろんなことを知った。最初は殺されたゼマン警部の弔い合戦と思って躍起になってたんだ。でも
Love that background OSC we're having.
僕が刑事として尊敬していたゼマン警部も実は汚職まみれだということが分かった。そして最後には所長と先輩2人が
Oh, love that shot through the glasses. What the fuck?
毒殺事件の知らせを受けて僕は呆然とした。世の中にはどこまで闇の世界が広がっているのかって。
闇？
事件の黒幕と言われるチェコスロバキア秘密警察、旧内務省直属の組織でソビエト連邦の手先だったが、10年近く前の民主化革命の時組織は解体。幹部は裁判にかけられたが、彼らの何人かは地下に逃れ、今もかつての巨大な権力を取り戻そうと。
Oh, that's CD.
そのぐらいのことは知ってる。でもなぜこんなに犠牲者が出なくちゃいけないんだ。本当にこの事件は旧秘密警察だけがやっていることなのか。僕らが暮らしている世界のすぐ隣にどれだけの闇が広がっているんだ。何も信じられなくなった。でもグリマーさんは僕にこう言ったんだ。最後に信じられるのは自分だけだって。そう言いながら僕にあるものを預けて。あ、ごめん。こんな話ばっかりで。
He's actually betrayed one of like that. He has the key.
ああ、いや、いいんだ。言わなくて。僕は今まで人間同士は名前や経歴を知って信頼が生まれると思ってた。でも君にはこんなに何でも喋れる。
That is a dangerous precedent, my dude. But I guess you'll have to learn that yourself.
僕の両親は2人とも教師でね。でも親父は民主化運動で当局から目をつけられた。母は僕の将来のために親父と別れたんだ。
Holy shit.
僕が刑事になりたいって言い出したら母は猛反対してね。
なぜ刑事になろうって思ったの？
以前のあのバーで僕の友達が言ってたろ。
まさか本当に刑事ドラマの影響？
ああ、子供の頃からの夢だったんだ。いつも刑事ドラマごっこさ。
Media does inspire, doesn't it?
そんなに笑うなよ。
だって。
She's like, what?
で、預かったものって何？さっき
Yeah.
グリマーって人から何か預かったって。
ああ。
And she's picking up the trail back again.
貸金庫？
その中によほど大事なものが入ってるらしい。
I mean, it's
個人をやってたペドロフというドイツ人が殺された事件。
ええ。
I mean, it's more than possible. She didn't kill them, right?
人体実験か何かのデータが入っているらしいんだ。どうやら今回の一連の事件はそれが原因で。お？
言っちゃダメ。そのこと警察の人にも誰にも絶対喋っちゃダメ。
でも僕一人でどうにかなる問題じゃ。
あなたのお母さんがお母さんがなぜあなたが刑事になるの反対したのかわかる？あなたに何かあったらってそう考えて何かとても危険な感じがする。だから誰にも話しちゃダメ。私もあなたのお母さんと同じ気持ちだから。
He's...
ごめん。
名前私の名前教えてあげる。
Here we are.
アンナ・リーベルト。
アンナ、いい名前だ。君ドイツ人だったのか。
じゃあまた。
あ、アンナ。
Calm down, my dude. Still not sure what her intentions are. I mean, she definitely cares enough about him to say, hey, look, you might get yourself in over your head, right? Did she just use the name Anna, or is she Anna right now? Another sign.
ああ、いい夜だね、アンナ。
あら、こんばんは、アンナ。こんばんは、ヤルカさん。
Cool angle. Nice angle. Like the staircase and all that. Alright, these pictures. All of these pictures. What the fuck is going on here? Alright. Short hair? Okay. So we are posing. You... Wait, but what about the voice? What the... Are you serious? But... I mean, they are twins, but... You can't be serious. I was like, triplet, or maybe like somebody posing as her, and then the second later it's fucking you. Oh, can I have officially... I've stopped thinking just now. Like, my brain does not compute. My brain does not compute right now. What the fuck, Johan? Like, sure, the disguise, but the fucking voice? How? How the fuck does he get literally? How does he perfectly mimic Nina's voice? What in the fuck? And this is not a fake out, I know that, because we're walking past all of these people in the neighborhood, right? That seemingly, at least to a degree, know Anna. What is going on? I have no idea what the fuck that is. How should I even approach this fucking topic? Okay, now it makes sense with the fucking candy. Like, perfect one-to-one parallel. Should have been a hint, but like the idea was so out there that I wasn't really convinced, right? I wasn't convinced. I was like, yeah, sure. Like, but I didn't even, not even a single cell in my entire body did think of Johann. I thought like maybe it was like a relative or the mom and she looks weirdly young, or it is like a triplet or something. There was like a secret, like it wasn't just twins and whatnot. That would have matched with like the AED, where we do have like a couple of sequences of the monster in the picture book, which are kind of a little bit different from what I would like. It was hard in the beginning to kind of just interpret one of the two monsters as Johann and the other of the two monsters as Nina, because Nina never seemed to fit the things we saw in the picture book and like the definition of a monster even. But I didn't think of Johann. I didn't think that would be Johann. That is insane. But I was right in noticing that there was something off about her. Right, like it's like uncanny valley kind of business, right? Where you do feel like with robots or CG that comes super, super close to looking human, but there's some tiny thing that you cannot point to, that you can't point out, that is somehow different, right? And that's what I felt. The voice, the way it like the cadence was almost perfect on or Nina. It was almost perfect. And we do have like the look. The look is almost perfect Nina, right? Like it's like the eyes. I think for me it was specifically a little bit, like a tiny bit the nose and the eyes and the way they are slanted. And the open mouth, which is kind of like not something Nina does that much, at least not in the way it's done here in those scenes. And then we have, obviously, we do have the voice, which sounds 99% like Nina, and then there's like this tiny aspect of it that is different. So this is why I thought maybe she's kind of like just faking it, right? Nina's faking it. She's just trying to get information out of him. But this is like, holy shit, Johann. We do have to. I love that with like the Dutch angles that we're using on the death scene, and then we have obviously the grotesque nature with all of the fluids coming out, and then we have the fisheye lens effect that is changing, right? We are changing the lens as we're just kind of just more. I don't know how you call that, but like a fisheye lens turns into a normal version of a lens. I don't know how you would call that, but there is an effect like that exists in actual cinema. I guess all of this is investigative report. Again, I do love how we're like blending in. First of all, like we have like news channel names, which is like Domashi. I don't know what that means, but or PBC. Probably if I would disable the subtitles. Farah. No. It's Braha, Prague, right? Braha. Meska Police, right? Okay, right. Probably Prague Metro Police or something. And there's like these old lines of the old tube TVs that we used to have back in the day. I grew up with those, right? Like some of you might not even have grown up with those. Although most of my audience is kind of my age, plus minus 10 years. So, but yeah. Really cool. And like obviously the press is gonna prod for anything that they can find, and obviously then they're gonna take it and they're like gonna take it out of context, and then they're gonna reinterpret it in a way that they want to do it, right? Either to bait outrage, right? And or to make like push their own agenda, or if they're really good, right? If they're really good press, then they are reporting relatively neutrally while still keeping the possibilities in mind. And that used to be the case back in the day. These days, media is all, well, not all, but a lot of media is a lot of populism, a lot of like just pushing different agendas. It's not even sometimes like, it's not even like a direct agenda of like, I'm representing this group. It's more like, I want to get all of the groups out there and have something for everyone to be outraged about, because outrage and hate and like fear mongering is what gets the most clicks, because it's a signal for us as human beings, right? If there's something to be afraid about, if there's something to be angry about, right? To be frustrated about, if it reflects our own personal experience in life, right? Our own frustrations, our own suspicions, right? Our own, like, the distrust within ourselves or the fear within ourselves, then we are reacting to those signals. It's like, wait, what did they talk about here, right? Like, this could affect me. Holy shit, I need to look at that, right? It's like a self-defense mechanism of us human beings, because we are, in a sense, we are primed to take in as much information as we can about the things that could be threatening to us. And as such, obviously, in a world where all that matters is this, and all that matters is that you stay relevant, that you stay afloat and all of that, where people do lose oftentimes journalistic integrity, where they give up a lot of their own ideals for the purpose of just keeping their jobs and making sure they make money and whatnot. It is really hard because it is so heavily incentivized to just be dividing, to be stoking the fires of unrest, stoking fear and panic, making people afraid, making people depressed and cynical but because it's a spiral. And I've been in a couple of those spirals in the past, where it's like you take in some piece of news and you're like kind of more on an alert state, and you do that at a regular pace, and suddenly it becomes a daily occurrence, and suddenly it's not just daily, it's like multiple hours a day. I mean, it never went that far for me, but then it's like you consume media, news, and all of that stuff, and more and more and more, and you can't get out of that cycle, because if you get out of that cycle, you might be missing something that is relevant to your survival, right? You might be missing something that's relevant to you, your life, right? That could destroy you if you don't pay attention, and it's a vicious cycle. People, if you're out there, if you're consuming a lot of news content, if what you're consuming makes you, or what you're viewing makes you aggressive, it makes you hate the world, it makes you frustrated, it makes you fearful, it makes you sad and depressed, then maybe it's time to take a step back and take a short breath and then just calm yourself down and abstain from that. Put some rules down. Be like, okay, once a week I'll see what was the most important thing that happened this week. If there's something that happened just now, like hours ago or like less than a day ago, I'll ignore it, or I'll keep it in mind for next time, but I'll stay away from it, because this is something that is volatile, right? It's something that is within motion, right? And that's what we see here in the press. Back in the day, I do feel like the whole pressing thing wasn't as bad, right? Like that people just want to profit from outrage. But press was obviously very concerned about like just getting the best stories, right? And also like just reporting on all of the stuff that's going around, especially in nations like these, where there's like, it's only been a couple of years since democracy as such was established, and press and media can actually report freely. So there's being investigated everywhere, because back in the day there was a lot of like repression and you couldn't talk about everything, but now you can. And there's entire new fields of news that are kind of getting themselves started and whatnot. And in the process of that, though, there's this impatience that's going on, especially in our day and age, like internet day and age. News are becoming obsolete in less than 24 hours. That's the insane thing oftentimes. But if the press wants to have a statement by the police for a complicated murder investigation less than 24 hours after the whole ordeal got kicked off, then the huge problem with that is the police is gonna say something, and then 48 hours later, they're gonna discover that what they've been saying is not entirely correct, and then they're gonna be like, okay, no, this is the thing, right? This is the situation. The problem is the original message oftentimes gets out to more people than the follow-up message. So I don't know. You do have a murder case, and the suspect is an immigrant, right? Great story, always great story. And then the police is saying that, right? They're like, he's probably from there and whatever, right? They're detailing that, right? We have that suspect right now. And 48 hours later, you find out it's actually somebody who's already been here for a long time, right? Like, sure, could be like, but, right? We suspected something and then somebody else, right? Or differently motivated than as we thought, like, in the first 24 hours. And then they're like, okay, no, this is that. Roughly like 60 to 70% of the people who seen the original message have already drawn their conclusion, closed the book, and they're not going to look into their story anymore. They see it on the news, they're like, oh, that's the story about that, right? I don't need to know that. I already heard it 2 days ago, right? And that way, like, 60-70% of the population still thinks it's an immigrant who did it. The other 30% of the population, they know that it's not the case and that actually they have conclusive evidence now. And this is how you split information, right? You rush it out too fast. You're like, this is the facts, this is what's happening, right? And either you get to the point where it's like people have different kinds of information because they inform themselves differently. That's still like shitty, but that's probably the best outcome of this scenario. The worst outcome of this scenario is that in the end, people are like, well, the police are always lying. Because like first it's that, but then they change the story very quickly. Could there be like some kind of, right? Some kind of conspiracy behind that, and then you have the people who are getting into that, and you know how confirmation bias works, right? If you look into something hard enough, you're gonna find evidence for your hypothesis, right? That's why science is so complicated. That's why these days there's a lot of like studies in psychology, but also in other sciences, where it's like you can't replicate them anymore because they were done under different conditions decades ago. And now you don't know if the evidence is still correct. So this is the problem, because like these days we have more rigid methods. We are trying to be more and more accurate with what we're saying and more controlled in the environment of our experiments and everything and of our studies. The problem is like back like 20, 30, 40 years back, it wasn't that way, right? It's still not that way these days in many studies, but we're trying. So you get this discrepancy of like what how information works and how it spreads and all of that, right? Like it's very dangerous. It's very complicated to work out the details of something such as a murder case, right? Because you have to reconstruct a very highly complex event that happened in an ever-changing environment out of little pieces of information, right? You're never gonna get 100% of the information that, like you're never gonna reconstruct 100% of the state that the world and the surrounding environments of the murder was in when it happened. You're gonna be maybe able to reconstruct like 20% of that, 25%, and then you need to draw your logical conclusions. You need to find the evidence, the DNA, all of that, the motives, the people that actually were involved, right? If they haven't fled the country already. All of these things. Somebody who is disguising as his twin sister and nobody knows, right? Crazy shit. But yeah. This is also very, very real with the kids. I was actually gonna point out the fish that's on the wall. I'm like 99% that is a child's like a child's book story, right? Like there's like a picture book that was read a lot in the 80s and 90s in Germany that was like the rainbow fish or something, and pretty sure that might be a reference to that. I'm not sure, right? But there's like Czech Republic, it's very close to Germany, so it's very likely that might have been a picture book in Czech Republic too around the time of the 90s. So yeah, I think that might be it. Either way, obviously, questioning children is different, right? You need to keep your questions relatively simple, but at the same time, oftentimes you get more out of children than you do from adults, because adults have things to hide. Adults oftentimes they want to appear more presentable, right? They might not want to say certain things they were doing because they're not as acceptable in society, right? If somebody visited, I don't know, a brothel or something, but they're working in like some state official capacity, or even just like a normal clerical worker within like the bureaucracy or whatever, they might not want to do that because first of all, their colleagues wouldn't like to see that. They're like, hey dude, like that's kind of like, that's weird, right? Despite it not being weird and a lot of them actually doing it, but that's like how depends on society and culture, right? How lenient they are with expression of sexuality and with all of these things, right? But at the same time, you do want to appear presentable. Maybe you didn't help somebody that you should have helped when they were getting mugged. Maybe you were like, I don't know, all kinds of things. Maybe you were having an affair with like somebody while your wife was sitting at home making dinner for you. Like all of these things. You don't want people to know a lot about some of the things that you're doing. Or even if something's just a little bit embarrassing, you might want to keep that to yourself. And that's something that oftentimes children don't have to deal with as much. Yeah, there's things they don't want to tell as well, but oftentimes like, I don't want my parents to get mad at me or my teachers to get mad at me for doing this thing. You can get it out of them where you're like, don't worry, it's all okay. Your teacher's not going to be angry with you, right? Obviously, that's not always the case, but you can like, as a figure of authority, you can kind of like stand next to the parent and be like, look, be lenient with them if they tell you something that they did that they shouldn't have done, or be right. And I guess most parents and most teachers would probably be like, yeah, it's fine, okay, I'm not going to be angry with you. I'm proud of you that you're helping this guy, right? That you're telling the police officer everything you know. Kind of like a negotiation almost between the two of them. But yeah, oftentimes children are very observant. Oftentimes children have a very good sense of who they can trust and who they can't, especially children who have made experiences with abuse and experiences with people who are not nice, who are like harmful to them, right? Who are a threat to them, that they can kind of tell at a glance, or maybe not at a glance, but from interacting with an adult, what kind of adult that is. So definitely if a child's like not like, if it's not a parent or something, but it's just somebody they met, and you ask them, what do you think of them? And they're like, oh, it's pretty nice. I don't think he's a bad guy and whatever. Definitely, I mean, a good person can still hide that, right? See, example, Johann with these other children in München. But we do have definitely, children do have some kind of sense about who might be a threat to them oftentimes, especially if they made these experiences. So this is definitely a very good source of information. Also, shout out to whoever like drew Madoka in the background there. But yeah, he's asking good questions, right? He's like, you know them, what did Mr. Grimmer do? And he's like, are you gonna arrest him? And he's like, nah, I haven't thought about that yet. He's not saying like, no, I'm never gonna arrest him. He's more like, no, I haven't decided on that yet. And he's being honest. And this is also important with children. I feel like sometimes they know if you're being honest or not, right? If you're being fake or not. It's like, not only children, or just like if you're like talking to patients in psychiatry or whatever, or treatments, that oftentimes those people can tell if you're just straight up lying to them, right? If you're just being fake as fuck. Now, maybe not lying to them, but in the sense of like just being absolutely fake and pretending. That's something they can sniff out, because they are also, many of them are more suspicious to begin with of you, because they're like, can I trust this person? Many of them have made experiences with abuse. So there's some kind of distrust level like to begin with, right? And then if you're being fake, that immediately lets all of like the alarm bells ring, that raises all the red flags. But yeah, he is the leader and he trusts our police officer being a very like honest to a fault novice kind of guy, right? He's giving the vibes of like, yeah, I want to do this right, and I want to do the right thing, being a nice guy and all of that, but at the same time, he is trustworthy. So the kids are like, look, or especially like our oldest here is like, I think I can tell him where we're going, and he should be convinced. Like Mr. Grimm is gonna convince him that he's an okay guy. Yeah, and I think like he's at some point he's been realizing that somebody was there, because he's been turning around. He wasn't surprised. He was like, "Are you here to arrest me?" Beautiful shot, by the way, right? The way we have all of these elements, right? We have the background with the clouds and the city on the other side of the river, the riverbed, and then we have like we have the ground with like the place where they're playing soccer and whatnot, with the bench in the background and the little trees. And then we have the hillside coming up with Grimmer sitting on top of it. And then the last layer, which is out of focus. Beautiful, beautiful. With one leg inside of the camera frame, which is Suk, I think, right? Is his name. Holy shit, still these fucking nails, dude. Absolutely disgusting. I have like, I mean, not even comparable, but I have like this. Just I showed something like that before, where it's like, it's another one once again from like bouldering, which still I love to climb. It's amazing, but sometimes it hurts, right? If the skin is coming off and whatnot. I had to stop too when I actually got that one, and but I want to go again tomorrow, like climbing. See if I can actually do something with it, because I'm so close to fucking to sending a 5. My first 5 actually. Like I think it would be like American system would be like a V1 or something. A V1 or something, but yeah. Let me see. The 3 frogs. Still not sure what that means, right? We only know that this is like the place that Nina's mother was located in, and Tenma is right there. He's investigating, and here we do have fake Nina / Johan actually in the locale talking to Suk and actually literally seducing him. Yeah, these shots kind of like you see like it's weird, right? I mean, obviously, if you told me this is Nina and she's kind of like been really stressed out, right, a little bit bags under her eyes and just like not eating well and whatnot, I would believe it, right? If that was the way the story goes, I would still believe it. I'd be like, okay, that's kind of believable. She's kind of different. She's out of it. Maybe she's a little bit pretending to get information, but I mean, it makes sense with the twins. I just don't know if it makes sense with the way they actually look. That laugh. I think that laugh actually... that laugh, I was like, that is not a Nina laugh. I didn't say it, but I was like, yeah, this is not a Nina laugh. Because I didn't want to lean too far into it, and then I'm dead wrong, and I'm actually fucking embarrassing myself. Bro is struck. Holy shit. All of these pictures, very interesting that we have them here. It's also interesting to see that Johan actually has lighter hair than Nina comparatively. It's like you rarely ever see the side to side. So yeah, very cool, very interesting. Oh, all right, let's get into episode I don't know 45, episode 45. We're gonna make it like a short pause. I gotta use the restroom. I'm gonna leave that running though. Just gonna be like, or maybe like, all right, we'll do it like that. I'll be right back. All right, let's look into episode 45 of Monster. 45 of Monster is the afterimage of a monster. Okay, interesting. So Johan's gonna get away again, as per usual. Lemao. And we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. Boom.
今回の事件はチェコ警察始まって以来最大のスキャンダルである。殺された3人は遺憾ながら元チェコスロバキア秘密警察と関係していた。今回の事件で 逆にこのプラハ署内での黒いつながりは一掃された。
You think so, huh?
諸君らは誇り高きチェコ刑事警察の一員。
Motivate the man,
良
right?
心に恥じぬ行動を期待する。さらに私は新署長として市民の信頼を再び取り戻すべく徹底的な改革を行う所存である。
Alright. Public image.
ここで本庁から派遣された5名の特別専任捜査チームを紹介する。彼らと一致協力してこの度の凶悪事件の早期解決に臨んでほしい。
Hopefully none of them were secret police.
スーク刑事だね。はい。
Shit.
今回の企業捜査に新署長として感謝の言葉を述べさせてもらうよ。
ありがとうございます。
ところで君が今担当している事件は？
ゼマン警部が捜査していたモグリの養護院の経営者ペドロフの殺人事件です。
なるほど。引き続き捜査に専念してくれたまえ。
はい、失礼します。
ああ、それともう一件。ゼマン警部殺しで浮かび上がっている長身の男。この容疑者に関して何か知っていることはないかね？
いえ、私はその男に関しては何も。
Technically not wrong.
そうか。下がってよろしい。
失礼します。
I mean, yeah, he is wrong because he knows where he lives. But other than that, he does really not knowing much. Then again,
プラハ署に配属されて1年。ゼマン警部と当初から親交を持つ。
are they just worried?
ヤナチェク両刑事の隠された経歴を暴き、ハムニク署長とは死の直前に面談。あの男を張れ。はい。
Alright, so they're all corrupt, I guess. Still in Prague, or are we somewhere else? It definitely looks Prague-ish. Yansuk.
あなたの言った宿泊先に連絡して、本当にあなたが電話に出たときは嬉しかったですよ。
また裏切られるかもって思ったかい？
いや。
He has, but not by this side. Orange juice, my man.
グリマーさん、あなた人目の多い場所を指定してきたけど、大丈夫なんですか？
大丈夫って？
新しい所長もまだあなたをゼマン警部殺しの線から外してない。それに旧チェコスロバキア秘密警察からも狙われてるんでしょ？あ、もしかしたら人目の多いところの方が逆に安全ってことか。
安全な場所なんてないよ。
They are not.
狙おうと思ったらいつどこからでも狙えるさ。
But at least they would have witnesses, probably.
赤いカーテンの窓からだって。
Jumpy, are we?
グリマーさん、あなた一体何者なんですか？
ただの売れないジャーナリストだよ。
そんな。じゃあなぜこんな目に？
ちょっと深く踏み込みすぎたかな。
笑い事じゃないでしょう。あなた命まで狙われて。
いや、いいんだ。自分で望んで踏み込んだんだから。
現在スークは
He has his own motivations here.
やはり合ってます。あのノッポの男、グリマーに間違いありません。はい。もう少しこのまま泳がせますか？
じゃああなたは旧東ドイツ時代、子供たちに洗脳実験をしていたペドロフの身辺を取材していて。
Share information is always good.
ああ。
そしてペドロフは死の直前、あなたに例の銀行の貸金庫の鍵を託した。
ああ。それと怪物の生い立ちとか言ってたな。
怪物の生い立ち？
意味はわからんが、それを手に入れたがっている人間がたくさんいるらしい。
Including Johan.
旧秘密警察ですか？
髪の女もね。
養護院の子供たちも言ってました。ペドロフ殺害直後、あの家から立ち去った金髪の綺麗な女の人。
I don't know, but I think Grandma didn't see her,
心
right?
当たりあるんですか？
Only this little.
皆目見当がつかないな。君は大丈夫なのかい？
あ？
私とこうして接触していること、上司に隠しているんだろう。警察を裏切って大丈夫なのか？
別に隠してるわけじゃありませんよ。これは僕の捜査裁量権です。十分調査した後、上に報告しようと思います。
I believe him.
ちゃん
I
と調べ
believe
れ
him.
ば、あなたの無実だって証明されるんです。どうしたんですか？
すぐに左を見るな。
あ？
左側のパラソルの下にいる新聞を読んでいる男。
Observing you.
変だ。
秘密警察。
さあね。さてと。行くかい？
行くってどこへ？
持ってきたんだろう？俺が預けた銀行。
He wants to open it well.
はい。
知りたいだろう？怪物ってやつの正体を。
はい。
じゃ、行くとするか。知らない方がいいかもしれないがね。顔色が悪いぞ。
Ah, he's still young. Ooh. Bro just had like an instinct thing.
どうかしましたか？
いや、気のせいか。
Nah, it was definitely not your imagination. Bro's gotta get taken out by Johan, I swear. Like this guy, I mean. Yeah, there he is, my dude. Pale like a vampire, as always.
先ほどお電話したプラハ署のスークです。
少々お待ちくださいませ。
Bro sounds like he ate sleeping pills for breakfast.
「お待たせしました。こちらです。お入りください。」
Alright, into the vault.
こちらが貸金庫になっております。
I love how they bend, right, around the camera. Like around the lens. Don't make it dramatic, just fucking open it, okay? You never know what's gonna happen.
あちらの部屋でお確かめください。
研究論文とカセットテープ。
僕、テープレコーダー持ってます。
Let's fucking go. Let's hear it.
いいですか？再生しますよ。
I love that there are signs on like tape recorders and whatnot. It looks really cool. Very authentic.
ここはどこだね。
511キンダーハイム。
子供の声。
君の名前は？
僕の名前はヨハン。
Johan. Why are they shocked? Have they ever heard the name Johann? I don't think so.
僕の名前はヨハン。
君の名字は
They're just anxiously listening.
もう一度聞こう。君の名字は何だね。
僕の名前はオット。
Otto.
僕の名前は
Ooh.
ハンス。
Okay. First
僕の
names.
名前はトマス。僕の名前は
どれが本当の名前なんだい？
昔々あるところに名前のない怪物がいました。
A monster without a name.
怪物は名前が欲しくて欲しくて仕方ありませんでした。
The story.
それは何かの物語かね。
アンナを待ってた。
アンナって誰だい？
アンナを待ってたんだ。絵本を読みながら。
この少年は薬物投与を受けて尋問されている。君のお父さんは？
知らない。
お母さんは？
生きてると思う。
君はとても優秀な子だ。怖いものとかないのかな？君が一番怖いものは何？では質問を変えよう。
No answer.
人を殺したことがあるかね？
たくさん人が死んでた。世界にはアンナと僕二人だけみたいだった。
それはどこだい？
War.
じゃあ質問を戻そう。君が一番怖いものは何？
僕の中の怪物がどんどん大きくなる。
No. And he's repeating it, not like a.
ぐしゃぐしゃ、バキバキ、ゴクン。
But it's from the story, right?
バリバリ、ぐしゃぐしゃ、バキバキ、ゴクン。バリバリ、ぐしゃぐしゃ、バキバキ。
Bro is getting creeped out as
僕
all
が一
hell.
番怖いもの。それはね。
Oh yeah, he heard about Kinderheim, right? Of course, he knew about Kinderheim.
大丈夫ですかグリマーさん。一体何なんだろうこのテープ。これが怪物の正体なんですか？全く意味がわからない。
Yeah, you don't have the context. He does.
私たちには意味がわからなくても、このテープを喉から手が出るほど欲しがってる連中がいる。
旧チェコスロバキア秘密警察。
途中まで聞こうが最後まで聞こうが同じことだ。もう後戻りはできないぞ。どうする？そのテープと研究レポート、貸金庫に戻すかい？
いや、本来なら証拠品としてここに保管すべきですが。
あんたが持ってるか。じゃあ別々に出よう。奴らがマークしているのは私の方だろうから。
They marked him too, though, unfortunately. But maybe Johann
あん
hasn't.
たの携帯電話の番号と。
But he's gonna tell Anna, right?
お互い無事だったら連絡を取り合おう。
Bro is being followed by like three organizations. And I know two of them, which is like the police, the secret police, and Johann. But the question is, who is like this guy, right? Who does he belong to? Music is great for the suspense. I know it's getting darker, right?
無事に家までたどり着けたか。
And that is when they get you, my dude. The moment you're like breathing in acceleration or in relief, you're gonna step in the door and then it's gonna be like, poof. But we're not gonna find out, are we? Or maybe Tenma has found him.
どうも頼りないからな。あの場通りのフラットか。
どういうことですか？
聞きたいのはこちらの方だ。我々のことは知ってるな。
本庁から派遣された特別専任チームの。
こちらがノバック3級刑事。私がジャンダ3級刑事だ。
そのお二人がなぜ僕の部屋に？
グリマーとはいつから会っている？知らないとは言わせない。さっきも共和国広場のカフェで会い、プロハースカ銀行へ向かった。この写真の男知ってるだろう。カレル・ランケ大佐。地下に潜った旧チェコスロバキア秘密警察の大物だ。
知りませんよ、そんな男。
君の銀行口座を調べた。今月多額の入金があるが、これは何だね。
何の話です？そんな金知りません。
君の母親は今、重い病気で国立クルムロフ
Ooh, they set him up real bad, didn't they?
入院費用だけでも随分とかかるそうじゃないか。
何が言いたいんですか？
君の母親は夫と別れてから女手一つで君を育て上げ、君も非常に母親思いらしいね。
何が言いたいんですか？
部屋を調べさせてもらいたい。
好きにすればいいでしょう。
I mean, he has nothing to hide.
僕には何もやましいことはない。
But the question is, do they want to frame him? Then they're just gonna place something and they're like, we found this in his apartment, right?
好きにすればいい。
ジャンだ。ちょっと。
What has he found? Holy shit. Johan placed it there. Johan placed. Holy fuck.
君の洗面台の中にあったものだがね。
知らない。僕はこんなもの。
薬品の中身は書で調べなければ何とも言えないが、死亡した3人の体内から発見された筋肉弛緩剤が混入されていたもの。ウイスキーボンボンだよ。署に戻って話を聞こうか。
いいですよ。徹底的に調べてください。
いいだろう。
すみません。ちょっとその前にシャツだけ着替えさせてもらっていいですか？
いいだろ
う。落ち着け。
Clever boy.
落ち着け。僕は何も悪いことはしていない。説明すればちゃんと分かってもらえるさ。
If they want to understand. Yeah, that is a lot of pressure. Somebody so inexperienced as well.
硝煙の匂い。
No. Fuck you, Johan. I know what happened. He shot these fucking... I mean, I don't know how this would happen without him hearing it. But either way, he shot them. And now he is being suspected because they were shot inside his apartment when he was present. And he was gonna come along. Fuck me, dude. He saw her before. me. Well, I would have stopped her immediately, but I mean. How is Sook gonna get out of this shit? Holy fuck. This is insane. This is very interesting, by the way, like this ED thing where we do have like the monster diving into the kid. I think it makes more sense to me now, right? It's like a kid being sickly and being like suffering as a young child, and suddenly this monster takes hold or takes him over from the inside, and suddenly the kid is strong, right? And can do all kinds of things, right? It's like almost like a separate identity or like a separate part of Johann awakened to all of this pain and suffering that was happening around them, like he was saying, right? All of these people were dying around us. Only me and Anna, well, were left kind of deal, right? And then we have that story. The mother disappeared, right? Gets like the mother and the one child they found was being taken, right? And they were like, how could they take a mother and a child? And it was only one child, and the other child stayed back, right? And like this guy was like, maybe, like with talking with Tenman, we were like, maybe the other child got left behind and wanted to make themselves food, and suddenly everything went aflame. Now question is, was he like a psycho back then, and was it already him just being malicious? Or was it just happening? And since then, he had this fascination with fire. Because we see that, right? We have the fire that happens in Kinderheim. We have the fire that happens later on during like the speech of our Mr. whatever you call him, right? Like the big like business dude who's like donating his like private library to the University of München. Like all of these parallels that are happening. It's a very interesting choice that it's Candy that he did kill like the hospital director and whatnot with, and now the corrupt police. There's also a parallel here, right? Like laced candy. All right. Let us go all the way back. I don't think we have that much to talk about. It's fucking a shame that they're corrupt too, right? Great, right? Like, I mean, to be fair, like, in this specific case, it could be like, mark him in the sense of like, he is suspicious too. Let's mark him because we need him to come along. We need to make sure that he didn't poison these other dudes, right? And was guilty of that. That is a possibility, of course, right? It's a likely story. A young guy looking up to Semen as like the chief, right? Him being a hero to him, and then him being disillusioned by finding out that they're part of the secret police, and then he's like, you know what, I'm gonna lace this candy with like some muscle relaxant, and I'm gonna kill them all, right? Like all of these corrupt bastards. And then he's going, right? Could be that. Could be him being like, we need to clean up, and this guy could be a problem, right? He might not be one of the corrupt people who are like part of the secret police, but he might be a guy who is a danger to the police force and their like reputation, because he's also kind of crooked and did some very dark shit, right? Because they were like, mark him. But later on, in terms of like mark him, we did use like the secret police as possibly marking him. But we have this guy reporting, he's like, all right, well, we got him, and he's like, he's with Grimmer, but then Grimmer points out that there's somebody else who is also observing him, which is, we just had him, this guy, right? This guy as well, right? So is this guy part of them? Doesn't seem like he's in like communication with them, so he might be secret police, right? So there's that. And then we step out, and suddenly he's like, holy shit, that woman is somewhere here, because he's got that feeling. As in his sense, like, obviously it's kind of always weird that everybody reacts to Johann like this, but they don't react to Johann like this when he's disguised or when he's like charming them or whatever. But I do feel like for him it would make even more sense, because for him it's like, I can put the pieces together. How did I feel when that woman was standing in the doorway and shooting all of these people that were torturing me just now? I was half conscious, but I had that feeling. And now he's like feeling the same feeling as he's walking out. Something in his peripheral, something in his like perception kind of made him aware of like the similarity of the situation. And he's like, shit, she's somewhere. But then he throws it away because he's like looking around. He's like, there's no woman in blonde. And obviously it's Johann, and we have that. A lot of this is building tension, and I think like one thing I have to really commend is Dutch angle, cool. One thing I really have to commend is the background music that has been phenomenal the last couple of episodes, of just creating this sense of dread, this sense of like uneasiness that we're feeling throughout this entire like section of this arc. And we're going in, we're opening like the report and looking at the recordings, and he knows about Kinderheim. He knows about like possibility of like, I think he has heard the name Johann before, I don't know. But at the very least, some shit's went down there, and like Petrov has also been incredibly fucking anxious about that, and like been like, there's like the source of the monster, and we have all of this anticipation building, and suddenly there's a kid talking, and we go through it. I find it very cool and interesting and very telling that Johann, as he's being interrogated, we're going through these questions, and he's answering to these questions partially correctly, like his name is Johann, whatever, right? Maybe even correctly in the sense of like him repeating all of these names and then being like repeating the story suddenly, right? Because it's kind of so close to him growing up and who he is, right? Like something about that story latched on to him as he was reading it for the first time as a kid. So something about the story resonated with him. Maybe that he was a child without a name in some way, shape, or form. That there is a monster inside of him, right? And something like that latched onto him. But it is very like for Grimmer, especially knowing all of the context, it's very chilling to the spine that Johann is telling this story about like monsters, and that he's leaving out answering specific questions, right? Like when he's being asked his name, he's repeating some things, and that's fine, but then we get to other stories, right? Wait, I still got the sound on, I'm sorry. He's like, which is your real name? And then he's just repeating the story a long time ago, with monster without a name, monster wanted a name so badly, blah blah blah, right? I was waiting for Anna, actually piece of the actual truth, right? Who is Anna? I was waiting for Anna while I was reading that picture book that he just repeated. Boys, being questioned, where's your father? I don't know, he's answering honestly. Your mother, I think she's alive, right? Quite an exceptional boy. Are you afraid of anything? No answer. What is the thing that frightens you the most? No answer. I'll ask a different question, right? Obviously he's doing what everybody would do when they're interviewing somebody, especially when you're interviewing a child. You get no response. You need to make the decision. Do I poke and prod, or do I retreat and ask a different question, get maybe to the solution a different way? Have you ever killed a person? That's a loaded question, but he's like, obviously, and Jan is like, what did you just ask? And then he's like, many people died. So many that it seemed like I were the only 2 people in the world. He's not saying he never killed a person, but he's also not saying he did. Which, like, around that time, when he was this young, possible he didn't, right? Or possible he, like, when he caused that fire, for example, it could have been that he killed people, but not killed in that sense, right? Where was that? Right? And he doesn't answer where all of these people died and what happened, right? Which was like the Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia back then. What is the thing that frightens you the most? The monster inside of me is getting larger. Crunch, crunch, munch, munch, chomp, chomp. And I think that is out of like the picture book 1-to-1. But he's like, the way he's saying it, right, is making Grimmer absolutely afraid. And how we have like the pan over that is really cool, right? And how the dimensions of his face change in the face of this reality. Whew, that is the thing that frightens me the most. So it's very interesting how we came from this dude is evil incarnate, he's Satan, right? To maybe there's something behind that, to maybe he has multiple personality disorder, there's a monster inside of him, he's trying to resist it, right? To he's actually just pretending to get the sympathies of people. Back to maybe yes, both can be the case, right? Which is where I'm landing at right now, which is he's using this story about like the monster inside of him to gain sympathy from people, right? Gain empathy from people in order to get them to do what he wants them to do. But at the same time, the story about the monster inside of you might be a story that is linked to a fundamental truth of his childhood, of a like very early childhood, where he really felt like that, right? Where he really felt like there's this monster inside of me. And at this point, the question is that still the case? Are we still in the status quo of like, there's this monster inside of me, it's coming out, but where maybe I've accepted it or whatever? Or have we merged with the monster and I am now the monster and there's nothing of like the original child that feared the monster coming in that is left, right? Because we've merged so much, I've accepted and embraced the monster so much that there's nothing, right? Like, this is me now. So that would be my question in that specific. Him shaking, really, really well done, and then him like composing himself and being like, well. And I didn't see that coming, that he was working so quickly, right? He did observe them, and then he's going in, right, while they are going after him. He's going into the apartment, he's placing all of the things, because I don't think Anna was actually with him in the apartment, unless we don't know that they actually had a thing. But how would that have worked, right? You know what I mean? Right? Johan has parts that Anna doesn't. And Anna has parts that Johan doesn't. So yeah, I would think that he probably just gained entry, however he's talented enough for that. Without leaving any traces, and he then just planted everything in there. And now it's like, he's being suspected. What is he gonna do? And he's like, okay, you mind if I like change shirts, whatever. And no matter if he would have left the room or not, in the end we're gonna arrive at the same conclusion, which is Johan in the guise of Anna, going in there, shooting both of them, probably with a silencer, although, in my opinion, look, Hollywood back in the day sold a story about silencers being absolutely silent. They are not. A room next to that, you would have heard that. But let's just suspend our disbelief and believe that they have been killed completely silently. Maybe he used a knife, who the fuck knows, right? Completely silently. And he comes into that room, and those two police officers that are supposedly on the side of the police and wanted to investigate him for murder, and probably gave that on to their superior, like he said he's gonna switch shirts, then we're gonna go to the police station, we're gonna interrogate him, right? And then he kills them, and now they're dead in his apartment, with the evidence as to his possible guilt in the other murder cases still being in the apartment. I mean, if he's clever, he removes that. But even then, it's probably been relayed already, so not good for him. I don't know what he's gonna do, if he's gonna flee the country or if he's gonna walk down the police station and trying to prove his innocence. It's not looking good for him either way. And if I was Grimmer, I mean, I guess it's Grimmer, so but he was a former spy, right? That fucking smile. But yeah, I would have fucking... I mean, that's the thing, right? I would have stopped Johan. The question is, would he have killed me in that case? Right? Because, I mean, former spy probably has some combat skills, but Johan is very good, so probably been prepared for the eventuality of being attacked. Even if he doesn't get his hands dirty very often. It's very interesting, in this arc he gets his hands dirty a lot. So, yeah. I guess maybe since it's so vital to his own identity and his own origins, maybe this is why he's like, I gotta do that myself. I mean, he's using a disguise, but still. Yeah, that was Monster episode 45. A very, very exciting episode as always. I hope I can watch 46 very soon, because it's a lot of cool shit happening right now and very, very exciting. Right? Still gotta watch like some Technolize and whatnot, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just watch the next Monster episode soon, and then I'll watch Technolize some other time. It's also very much a possibility for me. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you to all of the patrons, by the way, and thanks to all the other people, right? Flaming Shark and my other Masters patron who I do not have. Sorry, I ain't got your name on the in my brain right now, but I'll put you down as like the specific name. Maybe I'll cut this part out. I'm just gonna be like yeah, thanks to all my patrons, by the way. Thanks to Cardboard, who's been sponsoring Technolize. Thanks to the Flaming Shark, Steph Shave, and Nathan Sink for being part of like the Masters tier, like I think my first actual Masters tier patron. So thank you very much for that, and I do hope you enjoy these episodes. I'll see you again very, very soon.